Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, or whatever the time of the day or night it is that you're tuning into First Report 31.0
with this guy, Clayton Mitchell.
and Fletch Tabito.
I think that's the first time I pushed the button, by the way.
I think it is actually the first time. But look, we've actually got
somebody. Moving.
We've got somebody over there. We've got Panorama. Hey, welcome to First Report. It's been a while, Fletch. You've been away. I have to say, he's just run back into the house now after talking to in the house just recently about the taxation annual rates for 2019. Look, it's actually on the tally now as we speak. Oh, you like that pen?
Jeez.
Yeah, tell us
I hope
that.
you don't get sick watching this.
Sick of watching it, maybe. Not sick while watching it. No, don't bore us with the details of that, Fletch. You were in Hawke's Bay on Monday. There were some pretty spectacular announcements. Look at me. Some pretty spectacular announcements with the Provincial Growth Fund in the Hawke's Bay. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would literally, there were about 20 announcements, so it would literally take the whole time to talk about it all.
It's a Zoom.
So, Hawke's Bay, the pressures in the Hawke's Bay are water, people.
You're not investing in the Ruataniwha dam, are we?
And the transport and logistics.
Yeah.
And no, Ruataniwha is dead and dusted, but we are looking at water. So Heretaunga and Tuki, there's some solutions there. And New Zealand First is proud of the fact that we can look at water solutions because it will unlock so much more business in the region. So yeah, it was massive, nearly $70 million worth of announcements. And those of you in the area,
Hawke's Bay boy, proud.
I will be coming back with more announcements, actually.
Very proud to be a Hawke's Bay boy, hearing those sorts of announcements.
Yeah.
Central Hawke's Bay, good wins, big ups.
So what about you? What's the LSV? What's happening in that space?
It was an announcement that we made last year, but I think it's part of our wider discussion. You like that? What? I'm sorry, it's a new toy. We've got somebody to hold the camera now, and it's part of trying to get some engagement with young people. And I hear a lot of people still talking about why don't we reintroduce boot camps? Well, essentially that's what the LSV course is. It's limited services volunteer. We use the Defence Force to do a 6-week boot camp with young, disengaged 18 to 25-year-old youth that sort of give them the self-belief, a bit of motivation. We don't do the military training, but it's military style training, up early, purposeful things happening every day, life skills, teach them skills and get them into it. But that falls into the Mana and Mahi part, which is $49.9 million put aside specifically for, again, disengaged youth. Some people have said, is that just for Maori? It's not. It's actually for just any young person that doesn't have a job, not in education or training, needs a bit of assistance, and there's an incentive there for the employers to take them on board. To actually give them that opportunity with wage subsidies and also some trade training opportunities and apprenticeships. So hugely important for us to try and get those nets off the couch, which we so wholeheartedly believe in. So a great announcement. But look, the budget announcement has created this bluster from the National Party. I can't not talk about it. What does it call it? It's not the Treasury hack. We're not allowed to say it's Treasury hack. It's the unauthorised access of Treasury. I had to write that down because that's...
Words matter.
Words do. Apparently they really matter. But, in the last 2 weeks that I've been around the country, and I'd love to hear from you on this, Fletch, not one person has raised any concerns about, the government should have done more to stop people from accessing the Treasury. But what they have been saying is how absolutely dishonourable a member of Parliament, knowing damn well that the budget shouldn't be released until the time and the date that it's released, then goes out and makes a big song and dance out of we got access to it and we're going to play childish schoolboy games with it, showing a total lack of integrity, and goes and releases some of that information early after, this is the irony that I find absolutely hypocritical, after the fact that he lost his pajamas over the fact that one of his members of Parliament released some of his information a few days early, and he wanted a public inquiry, a royal inquiry, wanted heads to roll. So it's just absolute hypocrisy. But what have you been hearing?
Well, look, I hate the fact that that's actually the questions they're asking in the House. No one cares, right? In fact, there was a poll that said no one cares about this. And the irony of it all is, the only real point I'm going to make, is that it was Bridges himself who wrote out what online integrity is.
That's right.
And what it is you're supposed to do, and what you're supposed to do if you know that there's been a breach of what should be confidential government information. And in his own words, he said it should be reported.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I finished on this because we've had our estimates today with the ministers, and
what are we doing?
I'm just elevating. Couldn't help myself. New toy, I'm playing with it. No, we had Paul Goldsmith today questioning the Minister for Provincial Growth Fund, Shane Jones. And he was just saying, making comments on how slow the Provincial Growth Fund operator, the Champion of the Regions, is using this fund, and it needs to be sped up. But just about every single question in the House has been about how fast they've been moving through the Provincial Growth Fund, and it's too quickly. But now, just today, he's saying it's not moving fast enough. And I say this to you, Mr. Goldsmith.
Sounds similar.
You used to be indecisive, but now you're not sure.
And a quick shout out actually to New Zealand retailers.
Yeah.
27,000 businesses, 62,000 people employed in the industry. The taxation legislation that's going through right now,
second reading,
is all about making sure that our retailers have a fair and level playing field on GST. So no more will these foreign companies based overseas be able to get through that GST loophole. So that's
great news. Yeah.
Really
hey,
good.
thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Fletch you won't be here, but
no, I won't be here. You might get a guest.
Maybe I'll interview myself. Interview
yeah.
my own typewriter, but I'll bring a guest in for next week. But thanks for tuning in to the first report, 31.0.
Cheers, everyone.
I've got to reach over and switch it off. Oh.